We're joined once more by Mr. Fergus White, author of best-selling Ascent Into Hell, which describes his Everest adventures when he summited a few years ago. Fergus, welcome. Good to see you.
Hi, Gav. Good to see you again. How are things?
All good. The weather here in this part of the world is good, and I gather the weather over there is good, so which means a lot of climbing, a lot of activity.
Yes, they had great weather for the last 2 weeks over in Everest. Really some of the best weather in the last decade, if not longer. Just having a look at what happened over the last 2 weeks. There was in and around 700 summits, pretty much 10 days in a row. They'd near perfect weather and people were able to summit.
Sounds like a huge amount of people.
It is, yes, but I mean, over 10 days, that's maybe 70 per day, and that's coming from the north and the south side. So that's, an average of kind of 35 a day, given that, they might kick off anytime between sort of 7 p.m. and midnight. Not everyone leaves at the exact same time. Really, that doesn't really bring about queues at all.
So nobody falls off the top because of
no, it's not like that. Leave that to their own option. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
And that those numbers, that will be both Western climbers and the Sherpas as well.
Okay.
So on the south side, there was in and around 460 or a little bit more climbers. They came up the southeast ridge here, South Summit, and up to the top.
So that's like we've seen in other weeks from Camp 3,
exactly.
Camp 4,
so
around
that
about where 7 is.
Yeah. Over the last 2 weeks, on the north side, 230, maybe 240 climbers came up. They were up here on the northeast ridge. They came up here from China, Tibet, up this side. And then there was also 3 or 4 climbers. They tried the much more difficult and much less traveled western route. That was coming up here. So they would have gone up as far as Camp 2 here on the regular route. And then instead of going up the Lhotse face, they would have tried to go straight up the southwest face here, up by the edge of the western shoulder, and then follow this ridge up here to the top of the western ridge. Very much lesser travel. I mean, very few people have ever made it that way. It is dangerous indeed, and the decision was made that it wasn't safe. Avalanche risk was the problem there. So, discretion, the better part of valor.
Okay, and is that the avalanche risk because it's any snow that there is, it's exposed, or I mean, I'm looking at the white areas down around here. Looks like there's more snow to fall on top of you there.
I can't say for definite. It could have been somewhere here hidden behind the west shoulder. I'm not exactly certain where, but it only has to be bad for a matter of yards. And you say, well, look, that's not safe. It looks fairly dry there. Of course, this is a photo that a friend of mine took 2009, 7 or 8 years ago.
Okay.
Who knows how much snow was here, of course, over the last week.
Probably less.
Yeah. Who knows? But the decision was made not to go.
Okay. So how are things up on top of the summit? What's that looking like?
Well, the summit itself, as we saw last week, I mean, that's the route up to it from the southeast ridge. And as you can see, it's not a plateau at the top. It's very definitely a peak. This is coming from the south side. You can see that west ridge there. And Tibet is over sort of this side. So the whole thing comes to a peak at the very top. So this is looking back down from the south side here. And you can see just how narrow it is over here. You're right on the edge there. You're going to be overhanging. The rope goes down here. And you can see immediately you're dropping off down here. This drop down here, that's straight back down to Camp 2. If I just go back to the first picture there again, what you're looking at there is dropping right the way down there. So you're right on the peak.
That western ridge.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
And you can see, well, naughty, a few discarded oxygen canisters there. This was several years ago now. Some of them have been taken away at this stage. So just getting a few more looks then at the summit itself. There's a good friend of mine, Khalid Al-Shababi. He climbed with me back in 2010. This is him sitting at the top.
Okay.
Just shows you exactly what the top is like.
Yeah, fantastic.
That is the very top there. Just a few prayer flags and whatnot tied around it. He sat up there to take his break. And you can see again that it is very much a peak. You can see the snow just drops straight off down here.
There's not much room to, dance on that pinhead.
No, exactly.
And he's at that flag, is it Middle Eastern of some sort?
Yes, indeed, Oman. He was the first man from Oman to make it to the top there of Everest.
Excellent. And is he in that photo, which I maybe go back 1 or 2 photos where you're looking up towards the top?
He wasn't, no, I know he was. I'll just go back and show you that one. I know he was behind Greg. Greg, my climbing buddy, took this picture from close to the south summit. There was the ridge. I know that was me up here. Yeah. Okay. This is about 6 in the morning. You'll see the sun is very low. The sun is coming straight in from here. Khalid was behind Greg by a little while. If we just have a look there, I think Khalid was probably there around about noon or 1 o'clock.
The sun is showing different shadows directly overhead.
It's straight over the head, coming straight down. Yeah. So again, just another view there of the from the summit. So this is looking back down the way we came. This was the route here. This would be back towards the Hillary Step.
Yeah.
There's Lhotse there.
Lhotse across the way. Yeah.
4th highest mountain in the world.
Yeah.
China, Tibet over here.
Yeah.
This is Nepal here, still in the shade.
And that's a similar time. Did you take this picture?
That was me. Yeah, I
Yeah,
took that one
okay.
there.
So
that's
about
like
the same time as
7 in the
judging by the
morning or
sun.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. As
yes.
the reverse, the other picture.
Sun is over here in the east.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So somewhere in there, your buddy Greg is taking a photo, or has just taken a photo of you somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Greg. At
Somewhere
this
around about
stage,
there.
yeah, he was down here somewhere. At
South
this
Summit.
stage now, he may well have already been up behind me. He may well
Yeah.
be standing here beside me. I think. Or he
Okay.
might
An
just
hour
be
later.
creeping.
Yeah.
Oh, he was only a little bit behind me. It was all.
Okay.
I'd say within 20 minutes was all
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah.
Just take another look there. So that's looking south. Turning my head to the left and looking east. So this is over China. So this is the view from the summit. As you can see, a glacier going straight down there through Tibet.
Wow.
And it's just mountain ranges all the way into the distance.
Yeah.
The horizon
and
there.
almost the curve, or the curvature just about not captured by the camera.
From what I've read, you can't see the curve. You have to be up much higher than your regular airplane. It looks like there's a slight curve there, but from what I've studied, no, you can't. You can't see the curve. Much as you'd like to think you can see it. Yeah. Okay. I've read that you can see something like 350 miles to the horizon from Everest. Now, I don't know how that changes with all these mountain ranges in my way, whether that shortens it or indeed lengthens it if there's a mountain range beyond the horizon. But, maybe we're looking 200 miles there. It's kind of early morning and it's still a bit misty down there over China. So that's looking left. And then turning my head to the right, this is looking to my right then back into Nepal. So you can see there's the very distinctive wavy shape on Lhotse. Lhotse and Nuptse, the two of them join. Very distinctive. That's to the west. This is all mountain ranges in Nepal. You can see these guys just made it to the top. One climber, 2, 3.
Does the guy in the center,
here 5.
What's he doing with his oxygen mask?
This guy here, he has made it to the top without oxygen. I think only around 200 or so have made it to the top without oxygen. And I know that a Sherpa got to the top 15 minutes after me without tanks. So this must be him. You can see there the breath there on the inside of his collar there on the baffles. So I'd say without a doubt,
he's been breathing away through that jacket.
Without doubt, he had no mask.
Okay.
What we find normally, if you're wearing the mask, normally your breath, it'll kind of condense down the outside of the tube, so
it drips away cleanly.
Actually, it'll be all ice there.
Yeah. Okay.
But as you can see, he would have been just probably breathing straight into his jacket there.
Okay.
So these are all guys who've just made it to the top, 7 o'clock in the morning type thing.
And say for someone like Khaled back in your photo back there, he's got his mask on. And same with you, but we don't have a picture of you there. If he took his mask off, would it be deeply uncomfortable? Or
no problem. You just slide the mask down. There's no problem.
Yeah.
You can slide it down. You can last without the mask for a while because it's just giving you the little boost of oxygen.
The extra flow of oxygen rather than relying on it.
It's not like a scuba tank where you'd be obviously gone in 30 seconds.
Okay.
So you could pull it down. No problem whatsoever. You want to make sure you keep it running because if you turn it off, a little bit of moisture in it will freeze over on the valves and you're in trouble. So that's the key. Just pull it down.
Okay.
By and large, the less messing around, the better. You start pulling it up, pulling it down, twisting, turning. It doesn't take much to knock a valve out of the way, and then you're in big trouble at that altitude.
That's the voice of experience. It's the kind of thing where you might be you assume that they can be taken off and taken on, but from your story last week, say of the regulators, don't mess with the stuff.
Best not to. As I said,
it's working.
At most, maybe just if you want to say take water or get some food, you just pull it down over your chin a bit, so it's just beneath your lower lip.
Okay.
The less fiddling around with that, certainly the better. Yeah. So that's the picture there now, looking to the right.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. It looks beautiful. But I know that it's a treacherous place. It's not for tourists. It's not for everybody. And my understanding that this week, from a relatively tragedy-free season, this week has seen an awful lot of deaths.
It has done a bit. I mean, you look at these photos here, and it's gorgeous weather. And I know they did have some very nice weather indeed this week. But ultimately, you're up over 8,000 meters. Humans just can't survive there, and it doesn't take much for something to go wrong. So, as you said, yes, it was very much fatality-free there in the beginning of the season, but it's all of a sudden now there's 6 have died on Everest this year. Wow. So that was over the last month or so.
Tragedy.
I just show you roughly sort of where those occurred. I mean, that is the nature of it. They say 5 or so deaths is the average now on Everest, and lo and behold,
per climbing season.
Yeah, lo and behold, the law of average strikes again.
Okay. Yeah.
So there was one Sherpa died above the South Col, so that was somewhere around here on the southeast route. It was reported that he went blind, and then unfortunately he keeled over. So some form of altitude
illness there. And a Sherpa, who's experienced up there and who's a professional.
Ultimately, we're all human. That's the reality of it.
Even the pros can't. It's not guaranteed. Yeah.
No, it's just one of those things. There was a Macedonian climber died above Camp 3, so somewhere here. He had a heart attack. That was, I think, last month or so. Then there was a Japanese climber. Now this guy's very interesting. He's quite famous, very famous in Japan, and quite a high sort of profile, for want of a better word.
Okay.
This was his 7th attempt on Everest. I think he's always tried it without oxygen, and I think he's often tried it without Sherpas, but he was trying it again this year without oxygen and without Sherpas. He had a film crew with him.
Okay.
This is his 7th attempt. He is yet to make it to the top. Back in 2012 on Everest, he lost 9 fingers to frostbite.
Not much left.
Yeah,
Wow.
and still, so anyway, I think he had one thumb left on. I can't remember which hand it was, but not deterred, he keeps going. But as I said, you're kind of pushing the law of averages. But unfortunately, it went bad from this year. He was up above. Where was he? He was up above Camp 3, I think, in around Camp 3, and sort of chest issues, pulmonary problems, the altitude. Possibly, I don't know what it was, something in the sort of chest area anyway, and altitude related. He called down to his film crew for assistance, but by the time they got up to him, I think he'd already keeled over. I believe they managed to bring him down a bit, but he was dead and couldn't be revived. So there's a guy, I think that's 7 times on the mountain, and it can guide you. Yeah,
a tragedy.
Then last week, so that was 3. There was another Sherpa then last week over here at Camp 2. He was assisting someone over to a helicopter who was going to be evacuated here. That choppers can now go up to Camp 2. So they were sort of off, well, I won't say the safe route, but off the kind of the beaten path where there's ropes and where people have marked the crevasses. Yeah. There must have been a hidden crevasse there, a little snow bridge or something, but he fell down a crevasse there somewhere near Camp 2. They managed to get him out of that, but unfortunately he died then. I think he possibly on the way to hospital. But so they did get him out, but he didn't survive. And he was extremely experienced, that Sherpa. Then over on the north side here, over on the northeast ridge, there was another Sherpa died at about 8,500 meters. So, somewhere around here, they're suggesting that it was a stroke. But again, the kind of pressure that's on the body over 8,000 meters,
it affects the whole, cardiopulmonary system. Could be stroke, could be blood flow, could be edema, could be
anything and everything.
Or heart attack, as per the Macedonian.
Stroke is what they said. And then lastly, then was a very experienced Russian climber. Now, he was on a Lhotse permit. So he would have been following the traditional Everest route up here, up through the icefall. Yeah. But instead of turning off just here at the Y, he would have gone straight up. Okay. He was on quite an aggressive sort of approach in terms of acclimatization, but he is very experienced. This is what he was doing. He got to within about 100 meters of the top here of Lhotse and began to feel extremely unwell. Wow. Decided to turn, but on the way down, just again, altitude mountain sickness caught up with him, and I believe he just keeled over. It was mountain sickness got him somewhere around here. Okay. By the time teams got to him, he didn't survive. Yeah. So unfortunately, 5 on Everest, 1 on Lhotse there over the last month or so. It's, you hate to say it, that is the kind of the average, and it's a dangerous place.
It's and people should understand that if it's not for tourists, if it's something they are thinking of attempting, that there is a genuine risk.
I mean, there's a reason that these people die. It is a very, very what's the word? Inhospitable environment when you go up high, and you can't expect a rescue. I mean, over 8,200 meters, there's really very little hope, no hope of rescue. But even here, you fall over. Helicopter can't pick you up off here. Yeah, it just can't be done.
So in reality, are there bodies that are just left up there?
What normally happens is in the old days, they would have been dropped down a crevasse, and of course, because the glacier is moving, eventually everything comes out down the bottom.
In a million years or so? Or
I don't know, much shorter than that. I mean,
10, 20 years?
Yeah, 10, 20, 30 years, that kind of thing. But, and then when a body comes out here, there's a small team, and respectfully they take the body out and it's brought down for cremation. But you can imagine getting the bodies out is not easy, simply because they've iced in at that stage.
It's nature's, whatever nature yields.
Yeah, up here, up high, normally if there's a body, they're brought off route, so they're put in behind a rock or a boulder or something like that to keep them, just a little bit of dignity. Yeah, that's all you can do. But you taking a body down, I mean, it's almost impossible. It's everything you can do to keep your own feet moving underneath you.
From what you described, moving yourself is a challenge. So
the idea of carrying someone else, it's like if someone's asked you to carry a grand piano.
And up there, it's almost certain death sentence for somebody that does try to get involved in helping somebody else.
Well, I mean, it has been done. There has been some rescues done. I'm sorry, not rescues, recovery operations, but they're huge affairs. You're talking, 5 or 6 extremely experienced Sherpas going up there. Taking a big risk. Of course, they all have to bring up oxygen tanks, food, tents. So they have to bring up quite a lot of equipment just to do this. And of course the body that they're bringing down, they say that the body can often be much heavier than it would have been because so much ice is now stuck to it at this stage.
Wow.
And of course, you hate to be gruesome about these things, but the body isn't. If it was someone who was injured, they might at least be able to, shuffle along with you, or be in a certain shape,
or not ice up.
The body is going to be in the shape that it came out of, so there could be an elbow pointing this way, a leg pointing that way,
like a statue.
Yeah,
like carrying down David's statue or Michelangelo's statue.
With arm
David
pointing this way or bent over. So it is not something for the faint-hearted at all. It's
they won't get into a stretcher comfortably or easily.
Exactly. I mean, so to be honest, a dignified sort of discreet burial up here is
the reality.
It is indeed. Yeah, I believe on the Chinese side, though, I think they did a big clean up there and pulled a lot of bodies off route, or pushed them over an edge or something like that. So
sounds morbid, but
well, as you said, it's these are lovely pictures. They're bright sunny days, but the reality is when it goes wrong,
it's dangerous,
quite quick and horrifically
and harsh and inhospitable. Okay. Well, on not quite a morbid note, a very morbid note. I mean, is the weather still holding up? Are there more people to risk their lives? Or
everyone who's climbing has climbed at this stage. They had a tremendous 10 days in a row there, where so many people made it to the top.
Okay, weather-based. Weather is the key.
Weather was the key
decider
there,
on
exactly.
that. Okay, yeah.
It was clear days, low winds, temperatures weren't too bad. So everyone at this stage, long back to the base camp, and they're walking back down the trail now back to Namche Bazaar. And happy times there for many people. Indeed, whether they made it or whether they didn't. It's a big
they're
adventure,
alive, and it's
big
absolutely
adventure for everyone.
And then over the next few weeks, say this beautiful bright blue sky and white snowy, almost picturesque scene. Would that become fairly inhospitable with monsoon?
Well, I know the monsoon will come in. It'll be all snow up here more so than rain. I'm not overly familiar with what happens outside the season, but my understanding is that this is the window. So presumably once the window's gone, the monsoon comes up.
Closed.
It's snowy and it's windy up there. Yeah.
Okay, well then I guess it's this time next year to catch up on next year's summit attempts.
Indeed, good. Yeah, great to have that chat there, Gavin. I think we caught the season well. It was a good season. I think a lot of summits. Thankfully, no big tragedy. A lot of people they achieved what they wanted to, and hopefully those who didn't, they might get another chance at it again.
Yeah, fantastic, Fergus. Thank you very much.
Everyone, thanks, Gav. Bye now.